Hello everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Let's Play with Clay. So this is an episode that I recorded without commentary initially, and I even turned off the game sounds because I decided that for this episode I was just going to do kind of like a vlog, sort of. Because I had promised you guys that I was going to talk about some personal things that had happened regarding why I couldn't go to Japan, some other things in my life, and I really never got around to making that vlog, and I feel really bad about it because I know people like to watch my vlogs, and my vlogs actually get more views significantly than any other thing on my channel. So, yeah. So basically what happened was, back in 2012, my mother and I opened a business account for our thrift store. And in doing so, we, had a lot of stuff going on that business account. And it was a joint business account, so basically whatever activity happened on the account shows up on my credit report and also my mother's credit report. So what ended up happening was I go to try to take out a personal loan to pay for the program fee in order to study abroad, and I find out that we inadvertently accumulated debt on that business account. And for that reason, I couldn't take out a personal loan. And the way that I found out about that debt being accumulated was that I went to a different bank other than my regular bank that I use in order to try to take out a loan with them, because my regular bank said you can't have a loan because you owe student loans, but I don't have to pay back those loans until 6 months after I graduate, and I'm not going to graduate until the end of this year. So I won't actually own those loans until mid-2017. But the bank doesn't understand that or doesn't care about that. So I go to this other bank who disregards student loans, and they're like, you owe your regular bank money, so we can't open an account for you. And I'm like, I shouldn't owe money, because the one and only time that I did owe money, I paid that back. And that was simply because my old account had been closed, because with this particular bank, if your account is inactive for 2 months, then they close it, which kind of makes sense, but, things happen in people's lives, and their bank accounts become inactive because they're unemployed. So anyways, yeah, I basically couldn't get a loan, therefore I could not pay for studying abroad, therefore I couldn't study abroad. That's basically what happened, but looking back on all of the problems with studying abroad to begin with, it was the paperwork, the fact that the deposit on the program fee was very hard for me to pay. I barely could even pay it. And it was not a small sum of money, it was $395, which I don't have that kind of money typically. It took me 3 paychecks to actually get that amount of money. So that was pretty horrible. Then I found out that I couldn't actually do a homestay, and I would have been in a dorm, which was going to be horrible because this university in Osaka, they put all of the American students, or international students I should say, in the same dorm room. So I would have been dorming with some probably obnoxious American kid who I really did not want to be dorming with, and that would have driven me up a wall. I didn't realize that I encountered so many magma cubes in this episode. So anyways, so what ended up happening was, it was just like, yeah, looking back on all of it, I really don't feel bad. Like, initially I felt really horrible about the fact that I couldn't go, but then I thought to myself, and I was like, first of all, over time I really didn't want to study abroad anymore because of how awful the process was, and looking back on it too, I wasn't having fun with the idea. It wasn't an enjoyable process, and I was like, yeah, I'd rather visit there or live there. I don't really want to study there. So that's basically how that went. So yeah, it is what it is. But regardless, I've pretty much gotten over it at this point, because I found out about this back in December of last year, and it's now February, so we're good, you know? So, yeah. But anyways, some of the better things that have happened since then, I'm taking Pottery 2, and Pottery 2 is a fantastic class. My teacher that I have is the same teacher that I had for Pottery 1, and he is a very cool person. He's the kind of person who, he's very just so respectful toward the students, so professional, so well-mannered, but at the same time he also has this incredibly sarcastic sense of humor, and very satirical too, which is no different from my sense of humor. So I get along with him very well because of that. So yeah, and you know, we kind of poke fun at each other in class, but that's fine. I'm totally fine with that. I poke fun at him just as much as he pokes fun at me, so you know, it works out that way. And you can't really do that with every professor. There's always that select few that you can do that with. And so yeah, we work well together in terms of like teacher to student, and there you go. So yeah. But what was really nice about what's really nice about the class though is it's so much more challenging than it was last semester, and I can really concentrate on specific things now. Last semester it was basically learning, and this semester it's more like perfecting your techniques and, you know, trying new things and challenging yourself. I mean, and then this is a very typical thing of me. I decided that I was going to make a moon jar, and if you've ever seen a moon jar, it's very they're usually very big, and their shape is very distinctive, and it's very hard to get their shape to not collapse in on itself. My initial strategy the first time I tried it was to let the clay stiffen for a little while, and that still didn't work. And initially what happened was I was working with 5 pounds of clay, which is a lot of clay for me, but not a huge amount. At this point, we should be able to work with much more clay than that. But, you know, I was working with 5 pounds, and no matter what I did, it didn't work. So in typical fashion, I decided to add a pound and try again, and I actually was successful the second time around, and I felt very good about myself because this was not easy. I don't really have any photos of anything. We don't really take photos or video in class. We have to get specific permission from the teacher to do it, and you know, it's kind of a privacy thing, but it's also I'm sure there's some kind of law in there somewhere about why you should not take video of stuff in a class, and yeah, like, whatever. But in any case, you know, it's something that we're not really meant to do. So yeah, but regardless of that, I was just so happy with it, and I was so happy that I was able to finish it, and it just felt so good. So, that being said, I was also very sore this week because throwing 6 pounds of clay, that is a lot of clay, and I have very small hands, and I'm very, I have a lot of upper body strength, but I have very small hands, so I can't really get my hands around a 6 pound piece of clay. So that was really hard on me, and my back is fine, but my arms and my thighs hurt. There's a lot more thigh muscle in throwing on the wheel than you'd probably realize, so it was painful. And I've not been sleeping good because of it, but I was artistically successful, and that's what's important in life. So, you know, no pain, no gain. And yeah, but I have a few other classes too that are also really good. It was kind of interesting because during the first week of classes, yeah, the first day, this intro to fiction teacher that I have, he starts the class with an enormous amount of profanity, and it's pretty horrible. I mean, it's just the F word every 2 seconds, and then, you know, and I understood why he was doing it, because he was trying to make some kind of a point about writing and how you shouldn't, you know, be afraid to leave profanity or other things out of your writing just to prevent people from being offended. I get that point, but you can say that. You don't necessarily have to use the language in order to do it. And I could have let it go, except for the fact that at one point he actually was talking about, you know, the way that we're supposed to treat each other when we're doing our writing workshops, or basically critiquing each other's work. And he said, you know, if somebody's mean to you, then, you know, you can just say F you to them, and he just randomly flips the bird. And that was the last straw for me. So at first, what I did was I thought, you know, I should be able to work with him on this and just kind of make the point that this is very offensive behavior and it's not appropriate in a university setting. And I think most people listening to me right now can agree with that. But he, you know, when I wrote to him and I, you know, had asked him to either tone it down or stop it completely, he couldn't understand what I was talking about. And I responded saying, look, here's the deal. When you behave this way, you create an atmosphere in your classroom that makes students feel very bad about being there and very discouraged to learn. And students who feel bad about themselves or bad about the class don't learn well. And, you know, if you talk to us like we're stupid, we're going to write stupid. He still couldn't understand it. And so much back and forth went on between him and I that I got to a point where I was like, you know what, I'm going to contact the chair of the English department because this clearly is not going to stop. And his inability to understand that at that point I thought was just absolutely ridiculous. It's how many times do I have to explain something to you? How many times do I have to paraphrase something before you get it? And you're a professor, so you shouldn't really need to have something like this explained to you this many times. So, you know, based on the recommendation of the assistant chair of the English department, who is also the teacher for one of my literature classes, he recommended that I switch classes, and I've never done that before at this university. I've never had a reason to. I said, you know what, probably a good idea. And I actually came across a class that you know, I had actually taken in the past, but this time we're working with an anthology of African American literature. And this class is so much better. And it's absolutely wonderful. The teacher is very calm. He really teaches the class as though we're in a storefront church, and that might seem like a very odd thing to you, but if you're familiar with what black folk had to do post-slavery with the storefront churches and the spiritual songs and what that meant to the people, then you can understand why he would teach the class that way. And it really shows everyone there, especially the very young people, what it feels like to congregate, to be in a group together and sing a song together and understand, you know, how that can give people hope. And so that's what we do. I mean, we do other things too, but, you know, a lot of the class has to do with that. And it's a very smart way to teach because he's showing us, you know, empathy. And it's not like I wasn't familiar with this, but there are a lot of things about African American literature or the history of African American literature that I've learned from being in this class. It was really powerful. And we're only 3 weeks into the semester, so there you go. And those are the kinds of things that make me very, very happy. So yeah. And what else was it that we did? Oh, and I have an anthropology class, but we haven't actually started that class yet because it's a hybrid course, so it's half online, half lecture. Never taken a class like that before. I didn't intend to. I didn't actually know it was a hybrid class when I signed up for it because Southern's banner web didn't actually indicate that. Probably a glitch. Wouldn't surprise me. They have 5,000 glitches on their online system, so there you go. Anybody who's a student at Southern can understand what I'm talking about. And it's fine. I don't really want to get into the story behind this anthropology class because I don't feel like talking about it. I've talked it to death. But anyways, so what we, oh, and so this other literature class that I've got, it's not really anything specific. It's supposed to be time and place, but we're doing a lot with the 1800s, but we're also doing a lot of like Emily Dickinson, and I can't stand her poetry, so it's driving me up a wall. But we're going to be reading Moby Dick, and Moby Dick is really wonderful. I think a lot of people think it's this intimidating book, but it's actually a very comfortable read. The writing is absolutely beautiful. Herman Melville just does some really amazing things. And then we'll be reading Wise Blood by Flannery O'Connor, which I'm looking forward to because I haven't read anything by her, and so that's going to be amazing as well. And my god, that's a lot of opponents. And that's actually the first Wither Skull. And I have not been withered 10 times, which means we don't have to throw it out at the end of this episode, which is amazing. So, we like got the first one. Yay! If I sound like I'm minimally tired, that's because, well, I am. So, yeah. And there you go. But, you know, in addition to that, in terms of my very, very, very personal life, I have met someone very nice. His name is Michael, and he's very sweet and very gentlemanly and very kind and very gentle and very easy for me to get along with. There are a lot of things that are important to him in regard to relationships, one of those things being communication. And in the past, with friends and with my last relationship, communication was a big problem because I like to communicate. But a lot of people I've known in the past, you know, romantically or as just friends, don't really like to communicate. So that can be a bit of a problem. But he's really great about that. And so there you go. So there's like all kinds of things that we talk about, none of which you need to know, but we talk about all kinds of things. I love the way that Gas is like, yeah, no. I can't believe that Gas doesn't realize my existence either. Like, oh, I'm supposed to fire things at you. Okay. Oh, and I love how many times I missed too. I mean, you've seen in previous episodes how I just like pwn these Gas, and this time it's just like, yeah, no. This is like the unkillable Ghast. Oh my god. This Ghast is like unkillable. This is ridiculous. So, fire at me. Come on, be angry. I like shooting the things too, because that's actually really hard. Well, I missed that one completely, but the epic Ghast battle! Of course I would fall in a hole while I'm fighting a Ghast. Why wouldn't I fall in a hole while I'm fighting a Ghast? Yeah, so anyways, we've done... This semester so far has started out very comfortably in comparison to last semester. Last semester was just an absolute nightmare. I never got a break last semester, and it had nothing to do with anything in particular other than prepping to study abroad. Like, that took up so much time in my life, and it was horrible. And, like, I would get home, and I would do homework, and then I would go to bed. And I didn't record because of it, because why would I want to record when I'm that exhausted? I mean, I was exhausted this week, but I could still record and upload things. So yeah, that's another thing too. Also, I started a multiplayer Minecraft series with a young man named Nathan. His channel is called Complicated Crafters. His Minecraft handle is iDeceive, by the way. So if you see, you know, Minecraft multiplayer series with iDeceive, that's who he is. So yeah, or that's who I'm referring to. And yeah, it's been really wonderful playing with Nathan. He contacted me and he was like, can we do some videos together? And I'm like, absolutely. Let me just find out how to get back into my Skype account. And that took me like a week, because I'm 29 and it's hard for me to figure those things out sometimes. But yeah, we started playing together, and we're about 3 or 4 episodes into the series, and the episodes alternate a little bit between his channel and mine. Episode 1 is on his channel because mine audio recording messed up severely. And so yeah, but regardless of that, we've had a blast. It's been so much fun. And I hope that this can be a long-term series. That would be great if it was. If not, I don't want to say it's okay, but it happens. But I think it will be a very good series. I really want it to be a long-term. So yeah, we'll be having some guest stars too from time to time, so it just won't be myself and Nathan. It'll be, you know, other people occasionally too. And so there you go. But yeah, basically it's multiplayer, and it's hosted on his Minecraft Realms account, by the way. I don't have Minecraft Realms because this is the first person I've ever been able to play multiplayer with. So yeah, but regardless, you know, that's basically it for the updates about my life. And I hope you've enjoyed this episode. We finally got our first Wither Skull. And it's going to be nighttime, so yeah. Wow. That's really pretty. That is really pretty. So yeah, I guess my character's going to bed, and I will see you guys in the next episode.